All right, well, thank you, Gisella, for having us and for you guys to be here and for the introduction. My name is Marcello Arosio. I'm art director of Arte, which is an audiovisual art studio. We develop all kind of installation related to video, light, sound, interaction. This is our website, just so you see all kind of work very much related to the visual arts, but also to activity with the experimental theater, music, participating projects with kids and so forth. But you know, we've been always working out of Monza, but with an international perspective. Both because of my background and also because we think like this, we thought back then, we started in 2005 and in Monza, I was saying, and we think it's very important to look out of the country into other cultures, other way to interpret the work we do or the interest we have. So besides having like international relationship on the personal side, we thought it was very important to kind of like get it out there in the city of Monza and surrounding to let people that follow us understand what it means like to have a different approach on the same topic. So because of that, we came out with what is being called the Kernel Festival. At the beginning, I'm gonna show you a little video so that you just know what it has been since 2011. We had several. Oops, sorry, I don't see the video here. Okay, this is it. We had several editions in different places. See if this works. All right, we got a couple of minutes to look at this, see if you can hear it. So this was just a recap of what has been. we are a group of artists interested in visual mapping, of course, light, sound, digital media, interactive art. So we thought to condense this all interest into what it was born as a festival in one specific location. As Gisela said, I have an architectural background. I'm very interested in architecture and architectural heritage. So nearby Monza in Desio, where you've seen some images of this neoclassic villa, there's this beautiful place. It's called Villa Tittoni. As a little park, is an architecture designed by the same architect that designed Villa Reale in Monza and La Scala di Milano. And it's a little jury right there that it wasn't so much used by young people, not even by the regular people, because nothing was happening there. It was sort of like protected under like a glass cover. And so we kind of like mixed the things of like having electronic music, visual mapping, digital installation inside the villa with the institutional location. So that helped us kind of like open up the boundaries of that art, that kind of art, to other class of people. So if usually this is something that is very much of interest of young people, contemporary art in this case has been opened up to people that would go there because of the location, that it was very institutional. So this cross circuit did help a lot the Kernel Festival to raise the interest not only locally but also internationally. Probably because we also based the festival, and I will switch on talking about it. All right. So with the interest of involving like international artists or artists coming from different countries, we always work with open calls. So the first year was 2011, and in response to that open call that we launched, we had over 250 proposals coming from 36 different countries. So this blow our mind off and kind of like gave us the strength to build up around it. And soon it became a sort of a platform, because as for now, we have over 800 artists sign up on our platform with hundreds of projects in the different for the different areas that the festival kind of like explore. So we call it now a platform, because also the format of the festival itself it is kind of peculiar, and that peculiarity of mixing up different art expression, it kind of like capture the interest of other international festival and art directors. So to get more into it, what we really wanted to do was to kind of explore what emerging artists and established artists would do with certain technologies and with a certain location. So the idea is to see what the contemporary art expressions are through the new technologies. The other one is educational. So we want elder people to know about this art, to appreciate it, and that's why the location, but not only for that, is because we wanted to renew the life of certain places, such this Villa Tittoni Traversi, and also the open calls to kind of like give an opportunity to young artists that might not ever have the chance to use such expensive technologies as big projectors etc., etc. And so the architectural heritage we talk about. So this is all something that I've been saying already. The idea also to do program with the schools that we did for several editions of these, involving young kids of 9, 10 years old, to develop a project that would be presented in the festival, so that they would come with their parents. And actually, this has been one of the beautiful things that I always appreciate, the fact that at our festival you could see people with stroller and kids and elderly as together with young 20s years old kids or guys. So this is the 4 parts that we kind of like mixed together in one location in one festival. And this was also for us important to give an opportunity to artists to meet, artists interested in different fields to meet up and eventually build something together. And this has actually been happening in the years that artists from the sound or music field met with visual artists and developed a new audiovisual project together. So these are the 4 areas. And what's happening? Okay, audiovisual mapping, I guess, like you all know what it is. Do you? Do you want me to get into it a little bit? Yes? No? Anybody knows what audiovisual mapping is? Would you like me to talk about it? All right. So imagine this specific projection here. Is as simple as I can. It's as simple as projecting something that is aware of the fact that I have a hand right there. So this geometry is different than a flat surface. And what a visual mapping does is project images on a complex surface, small, big, that is interpreting that specific with a three-dimensional approach of the image projected and of the contents. So you take advantage of the fact that you're projecting an interpretation of that architecture on that same architecture that you're interpreting. So what happens is that often the images trick your eyes, making you believe that the architecture and the geometry deforms in front of you. So that's something that really you can watch tons of videos on YouTube, but be assured that that's probably like 30-40% of what you can really appreciate, like being in front of a huge facade with the sound and the images that just give life to architecture. So in these cases, what we had, same with like audiovisual project we built specifically for the festival with visual artists and musicians, is that we have a different interpretation of the same object, in this case architectural facade, from several different artists. And this was probably the format that picked the attention of internationally. So digital art, interactive art, both. We always like kind of look into mixture of medias that merge together or find a combination to express something that otherwise it wouldn't be you wouldn't be able to perceive in the same way. And also architecture. This is something that we kind of like left behind because it's very expensive to work in it. But the fact of the architecture gone into research related to the application of the digital interactive. So what we were looking for here was trying to find opportunities to make yourself involved in a dynamic architecture that change shapes based on how you move or you interact with it. Of course, it's quite expensive, and we never really got there. but we always use architecture as a reference for the projects and the edition we do. So platforming became, once we kind of developed different formats with the same approach. So from the Kernel Festival, we kind of like merge all those aspects together from Kernel Theater, where we have live, in this case, live orchestra and live visual mapping in sync with the orchestra, or a jazz band as well. Mapping cinema was more like concentrating on mapping. So we're splitting up the festival. The format itself, it becomes like modular. So we can pick several opportunities that might raise up. Kernel Mapping Cinema is more like having a collection, a big collection of different visual mapping, as you would do for a movie theater, an open air, a movie festival. Kernel Lab, we always work with artists or create opportunities for artists to meet mentors and develop ideas through all the process, all the way to expose, to exhibit the piece that they've been developing with the mentors in a public realm, as the festival is. And finally, Kernel Nights. It was more like something more agile, to go into clubs and deliver peculiar digital art projects or visual projects, so that also within a sphere that might not pay too much attention into contemporary art, we could kind of like trigger some thoughts in the people that was there, either in clubs or other events. So I will kind of skip through this. Is pretty much what I've been saying. Sound Park was a project that we did with school in Chicago, in Como, Milan, Barcelona. All right, so usually a festival has one location, and it kind of like stay there, and it kind of like end up repeating itself, changing the contents, but pretty much, being the same, because it's a commercial format at a certain point. Being ourselves artists, we kind of like get bored fast. So that's why all those different approaches to the festival format has come out, as well as the idea that once the Villa Titoni was known around, and so much that they start having like summer music festival going every year, our mission somehow was accomplished there. So we look for different places, and that's where the festival became nomadic. Also thanks to the opportunity to bring it over to Messina in Sicily. And this was in 2015 when we had a double edition. It was one in Messina, and 2 weeks later was back again up north here in Lombardia. And so Kernel Messina was completely different. If Villa Titoni was an enclosed space, so that we control the crowd entering, and we could actually do ticketing. In Messina, it was a completely different story. We've been asked to bring Kernel in a public open space, so not ticket, just like regular squares, streets, plaza, and public location. So what we did there, we were confronted with a double challenge. One was a sort of like mapping cinema section on the main square of Messina, which has a beautiful dome. On the facade of the dome, we had, I think, 8 artists running 6-7 minutes short mapping films, one after the other. So it was, 1 hour session, and that is being repeated twice or 3 times a night. And on the other side, Messina has, I won't go too much into it because I don't even have much to show you to understand better, but you might have seen something on the video before. Messina has, at the entry of the port, a beautiful space for what it was a trade fair that was built in the 50s, or where in the 50s it has the main glamour, because they had an international film festival showing there. It has some interesting pavilions in terms of architectural design. And the thing is that it's been pretty much abandoned for the past 20 years. So none of these pavilions were accessible for the public. So what we did, and that was crazy, because when they told me, would you like to do something in the Fiera of Messina? I was like, yeah, sure, of course, but I never been there. And the Fiera is like 700 meters long for 300 meter large, 12, maybe 15 pavilions. It was huge when I got there, and it was completely abandoned. So it was like scary, but what we managed to do is pretty much to reopen that space to the public at night, but with a completely different perspective. So the idea was to relaunch the closeness from the citizenship to what is their own public space, which has had a great history. And so what we did, we work within. You can see something right here, and within the building itself. So people was enjoying electronic music concert, interactive light installation with music, with headphones. It was like sort of a wonderland kind of experience, and they all appreciated it very much. And so we did, as well as we did in Reggio Calabria, with this castle right on the Stretto, working with lights and musical composition that artists have sent us through the internet. And so here are different locations that we have been working with in Kernel, as well as other leader situation in other countries, in Spain, in Greece. So this some example of the location after going in with the artist we involved. This is the Fiera, and this is just a little part of it. So we take advantage of what it was there, kind of like highlighting the architecture, and give the opportunity to people to look at them in a different way, different eyes. And I don't know how coincident it is, but we just been back there 4 years later with an installation right there on the scaffolding that set to remodel the Fiera. So the Fiera will soon gonna get back to its own shape. There was a little church in Limbiate where we had an appointment for the Kernel Labs, where we give opportunity to young artists to meet mentors and develop projects and select some to go in the festival. It was in Milan. And here's some numbers. It's just, this is probably dated a couple of years ago, but just to show, it was mind-blowing for us to see how much interest from international was, and of course Italy remains the main source of interest for the artists or participants, but maybe some numbers that is the 145 artists have been presenting something at the festival in those past years. So now we've been silent for a while, most of it because we don't have any contract with any institution, and so we're free to do what we like. And we do something when the opportunity comes up and is good enough to maintain the quality that we always put in in the previous editions that we had. So in the past couple of years, a big project in Sicily has been blown off, and that kind of killed us for a while. But because it was supposed to be last springtime, a year ago, it didn't happen, so we've been working on a new one, and it's actually the one that you've been working with your project for, and it'll be in March in Monza. So I will quickly get into it. In the mid-March next year will be Monza, which happened to be our hometown. So we gonna experience something similar to the version that we did in Messina. So it's gonna be all in the public space. What we really like to do is to give opportunity to the public to experience what a lot of people, millions of people, are experiencing throughout Europe and all around the world with these light festivals. I don't know if you know about them. There's maybe the biggest one, the historical one, is Fête des Lumières in Lyon. It attracts, I think they're talking about 2.5 million people in a little over a weekend, maybe 4 or 5 days. That's 20 years old. Actually, it's an old tradition that became a light festival, but they gave the spark to a bunch of others. Maybe the most important one is Glow at Eindhoven in the Netherlands. There is Luce Helsinki. It's a very nice festival that I like specifically because they do research a lot on the artistic side. But all these festivals collect enormous audience. And this is good, of course, for the city, for the economics of the city and the commerce. But at the same time, it gives us, passionate in light and visual art, the opportunity to let people get closer to this contemporary way to interpret the light as an expressive medium. So that's why we'll be working a lot in education with kids of the school, kids from the high school, and you guys, and people from other academies in Milan and abroad. We'll hope to bring some students from abroad with some installation, as well as conference, roundtables, workshop, which is something we always did. We do have like invited artists that we pay fee to, but what we always demand is to be open, to meet other artists and to meet the people, to run a workshop, to run a conference, because we do want them to spread out the voice, to give the opportunity to people to get closer to their art and to understand that better. So we do have that. We also have portfolio reviews, because you might have seen the previous slides in the Kernel Festival. We do have a big international network that we're working with, and we'll have some of their representatives coming. So in specific, we do have audiovisual 3D mapping, we do have some light installation, and hopefully an exhibition we're working on, and of course meeting and workshop. So this gives you an idea of what is going to be the Kernel Festival in Monza. And of course we're going to be working as much as possible with all our previous partners, as well as involving ILO. ILO is an international light festival organization that kind of joined together different festivals from around Europe and the world. We've been asked in 2009 to be member of them. I'm actually in the board of directors as for now, and and so it's kind of a group. We all share same interest, same problems, same issues. We often work with same artists, but it was important to join forces to kind of like even raise stronger the meaning of this festival. And for my point of view, art is what it should be running the show. It's not always the same thing for other festivals because they're so established that money is what drives them. So, and the entertainment side of it. So make it easy for people to enjoy the festival. Colorful installation, maybe not so meaningful, but very entertaining. Well, on our side, we try to, highlight the arts behind this. So for this round, we involve some of these festivals to come along with an artist to show a piece in our festival and to be there available for conference and portfolio review for artists from around here, from Italy, that want to present their work to these directors and have maybe a chance to bring some of their work in these festivals. So so these are the 5 festivals that we participate this year, but we actually gonna host an annual meeting of one of the 2 annual meeting of ILO will be hosting in Monza. So many other directors, festival directors will come. So we'll have like a great parterre of professionals in the field. And now getting into location, this is our most ambitious plan for this year, which is the first year we go in Monza on the public space. So it's a little tour around the center. So the main square with the municipality, the Arengario, the dome, and some of the most the oldest streets in the city. And number 5 will be the location for your project to be shown during the festival. And so these are all the location, and yours would be that one right coming up from the older street we probably have in Monza on the side of the dome along the circuit. So it's a peculiar street which has old popular architecture, popular in terms of like not institutional, residential streets on the side of the park of the dome. And so we've been talking with Gisella and Marco Brianza, that will talk to you later, what we could do here. And based on a research that Marco is doing, we've been coming up with an idea that I think you're definitely gonna like, because it definitely matches the contents of the course, of the il corso di Gisella. Ho messo una parola in italiano, il corso, non mi veniva. And this is it. So if you like, we could go see if I can get. No. I want to pop up a map. Let's see. All right. Should we browse through? If you want to look at it, see if it comes out. All right. So you know where we are. This is the main square with the municipality. We'll have a project in this plaza and inside the Arengario, we'll have a school project along this street, and then coming up from what's probably the oldest residential building here is a tower, medieval tower. The path goes through, and we're running to your location, your installation. I don't know if you want to go through it and see what we got. So the flow of people most probably will come from here, and we go through this street and through your installation up at this point. So the area that we're considering for your project is long, about 20 meters long for the width of the street, and it's gonna be like a passage with all the meaning that might have, that you'll be working on with Marco. So I guess this is it for now on my side. You're very welcome to come up with any questions, either technical or not. All right, that's some projects, but you don't care about it. So let's stick there. Any question I can help you with? Was that fast enough? Yeah? All right, well then, I'll pass it over to Marco. All right.